Welcome to Women in the Music Industry, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the remarkable women who are breaking barriers and making their mark in an industry that has long been dominated by men. I'm your host, Rob Wells, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this empowering journey. Each episode of this podcast will be dedicated to exploring the inspiring stories, accomplishments, and struggles of the extraordinary women who have defied the odds and made waves in the music business. Together, we'll delve into the journeys of female artists, songwriters, producers, musicians, managers, executives, and all those who have helped play a pivotal role behind the scenes. We'll uncover the stories that deserve to be heard, as well as celebrate the triumphs, challenges, and unique perspectives that women bring to the music industry. Whether you're a fan of music, an aspiring artist, or simply curious about the inner workings of the music business, this podcast will offer a valuable perspective. Together, we'll celebrate the power of music and the strength of these inspiring women. So join us as we amplify their voices and together pave the way for a future where women in the music business are no longer the exception, but the rule. Today's podcast is sponsored by the Songwriter's Piano, an easy-to-use app for songwriters and lyricists to use when coming up with song ideas when there's no instrument around or nobody to play one. With the Songwriter's Piano, one can easily play commonly used pop songwriting chord sequences at the touch of a screen, in any key, in 3 different chord variations, all played on a gorgeously recorded grand piano. Download the Songwriter's Piano by Play Like Me apps today, found on both iOS and Android stores everywhere. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Women in the Music Industry. I'm so happy that you're here. Today's guest is the wonderfully talented and amazing human being, all just wrapped up into one person, NIIVA. She is here in the house with us, and I'm so excited that she's here. If this is your first time coming in and checking out this podcast, then you are absolutely more than welcome to be here. Very happy that you're here. If you've been here before, then I'm so happy that you're back. But I'm telling you, this is like going to be a real big one. This is going to be a great one because NIIVA, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure a lot of you do know, but for those of you that don't know, NIIVA, the Bulgarian-born, England-raised, and now Canadian-based pop artist, has captivated audiences with her musical prowess. Recognized as iHeartRadio's future star, Kiss Radio's one to watch, and Amazon Music Canada's breakthrough artist, NIIVA soared to success with her Billboard charting hit single Friends, reaching number 13 on commercial hit radio. Not too bad. Now she unveils her highly anticipated new record, That Song, a powerful pop anthem that delves into how people from our past can taint the things we love, leaving a bittersweet association. With heartfelt lyrics and an infectious beat, That Song reminds listeners of the importance of reclaiming their joy, forging new connections untainted by negative memories, and finding solace in the transformative power of music. The singer's independent debut EP has garnered over 3 million streams on Spotify alone, displaying her ability to weave relatable stories with ease. Released via Rev Music, the self-titled EP, featuring collaborations with esteemed songwriters like Terrence T. Lamb, Lauren Mandel, Sammy G, and Bobby Brass from Kuya, Matt Beckley, Adam Josh, Jordan Postorino, and Analog in the Digital, explores the complexities of love and relationships through organic pop melodies. If you didn't think that was enough, check this out. NIIVA has made her mark in the K-pop industry, notably co-writing the record-breaking debut single Black Mamba for the chart-topping girl group aespa. The track achieved phenomenal success, reaching number 1 on the Billboard World Album Chart, number 1 on the top album sales chart, number 1 on the top current album sales, and number 3 on the Billboard 200 chart. Holy smokes. With signature catchy melodies, NIIVA, there it is. There's the Billboard Award up there.
You think they're back there by accident?
Duh. NIIVA confidently takes the reins, delivering a sort of lyrical liquid courage in a defiant yet approachable voice. Wow. I need to catch my breath now after that bio. That's a lot. And you're like 15 years old, like you just like have
I just entered teenagehood. It's insane.
Yes, yes. I
It's
just
insane.
left teenagehood myself. It
Yeah,
just
last year.
plus 40. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Plus, yeah, it's great to have you here. You
I'm so
are
glad I'm here.
such a good friend to me, and I really appreciate you being here. I've always
Thank
enjoyed
you.
hanging out with you. I'm sure today is going to be no different, but
It's going to be great. This is going to be a hangout session. This is
it, it's going to be the best
nothing more,
hangout
nothing less.
it's going to be the best hangout that I've ever had in my life, ever.
Yes, I agree.
I'm convinced of it for sure. You're somebody that I love to hang out with because you're insanely talented. You're very friendly. You're very humble. You're very kind, but you are also very funny. Uh, every time that I've hung out with you, my stomach has been in stitches, and I think I've had to go to the hospital a couple of times to make sure that everything was okay down there, just in my stomach. Just
That's what they tell me. Yeah.
no tears, no tears in the stomach lining at all.
Good.
Yeah, but I do realize though that you and I have never had a deep dive into your life. And I know a little bit about you and obviously from reading the bio. And I know a little bit about your story about all the different places that you've lived and where you were born and raised. But would it be okay? Can we start there? Can we do like a little bit of
Let's do it.
a dive? You can take me from point A to point B and give me the long or the short story.
Definitely. So yeah, I was born in Bulgaria. I don't know for the geographically inclined. I was born in Haskovo, the city in Bulgaria. But I grew up in a city called Dimitrovgrad. So like just the neighboring city. I was born in a hospital there. We're gonna get into the details here.
Please don't get me to repeat those names. I'm going to be
No,
tongue twisted.
no, I should have like written them down for you, like held up cue cards or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Are these big cities? Are they small cities? Give me the idea.
I I'm probably gonna get it wrong. I feel like they're pretty medium sized, like certainly not towns, like cities for sure. Not as big as the capital, obviously. But yeah, like medium to large. My whole family obviously was there. And then my parents actually ended up moving to England like a year ahead before my brother and I joined them, just to like set everything up. Yeah, and then my brother and I moved with them when I was about 9. Spent maybe like 6 years, I want to say, in London. Loved it. I loved it. My brother and I loved it because my parents are really good at like they created a really good life for us. I think definitely their lives were a lot more difficult than ours, like, you know, being immigrants. But I always tell them like I've never felt like deprived of anything. I've never felt like we were lacking anything really, which is hats off to them.
Did you know English at all when you went to England?
No, not really, no.
That's got to be hard at the age of 9 to be leaving everything that you know and going to a brand new place, brand new country.
It was tough. Like I think at 9 though, maybe I saw it a little bit more of like an adventure. So like obviously it was tough. Obviously my brother and I had friends, whatever. My brother was only 5 years old. Sweet boy. Or 4? No, he was 4. But like, you know, I would write letters to my friends back home, back when we used to write letters. It was like a novelty anyway. But then the tougher move was from London to Vancouver because I was 15, I want to say. Hormones through the roof. Everything is like, it feels like the biggest thing that's ever happened to you. And it was super tough. My brother, I think he was a little bit younger, but it was probably very much the same for him. You know, you're like establishing your friend groups and you're like trying to establish yourself as a human. Still very young, obviously, but yeah, that one was super, super tough. I was in love at the time, so I had to leave him. And I know it sounds so silly, like at 15 to talk about that, but it's like the purest form. I always look back so fondly at that because it was just like untainted. It's the first time you fall in love. You give it all, right? But yeah, that was super tough, like leaving all my friends and stuff behind there. And because the culture shock between England to Vancouver was so huge that I think I spent the first like 3 years hating it, like actively hating it here. It's so dramatic. But
were you able to keep in touch with everybody back home in England?
Yeah.
Through the
Oh
internet?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, the one of the weirdest things was when we first got to Vancouver. Obviously, everyone here, like I had the strongest English accent. And like from the moment you open your mouth, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I say that. Can you say what about oh?" So I was like, obviously, like the one that was the odd one out. But then I would call my friends in England, and maybe this was like maybe 3 months into being here. They're like, "Oh my God, you already sound so Canadian." And I was like, "Are you out of your mind? I'm trying so hard to keep it. I thought I sounded exactly like you did still." But it's so funny, like when your ears adjust to like a new accent, you just start to subconsciously like adapt to it.
I was just at a retreat in Ireland, and there was somebody that I was working with there who sounded Irish to me, but she said, "Oh no, I'm actually Canadian. I grew up in Richmond Hill, Ontario."
What?
And I said,
Not
"Really?"
even Newfoundland?
No. And I said, "Really? You're from Richmond Hill, Ontario?" And she said, "Yep." And I said, "How long have you been living in Ireland?" 12 years. But she said, "I've picked up on the accent living here." But it's funny, if you ask anybody from Ireland, they'll tell you that I don't sound Irish at all. They say
Right.
that I sound Canadian.
Right.
But to me, my ears, she sounded purely Irish.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. You're like none, you're both and neither. It's very strange.
And it's interesting because I can hear right now in your speaking voice, I can hear like little just hints of the two different worlds, the three different worlds that you've come from.
Yeah. It comes in and out really. Like when I drink wine, I believe. I'm trying to be classy. When I drink, um, apparently the accent comes out more. And apparently the angrier I get, the more English I sound. And
Wow.
I don't know how to explain that. So
Does the Bulgarian accent come out, or is it just it's just purely the English accent?
it's not the accent that comes out, it's the attitude.
Okay.
The Bulgarian attitude comes out for sure. The Bulgarian attitude in an English accent in the middle of Toronto.
Wow. That's so good.
My poor
Okay.
boyfriend.
So yes, absolutely. So you're 15 years old. You come to Vancouver for the first 3 years. You're hating life in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Like, imagine it was so bad. No, and it's beautiful. And I love BC. And when I say Vancouver, actually, for those that actually know what's going on over there, technically, like I grew up in and graduated high school in the Tri-Cities. So I graduated high school in Port Moody. So that's kind of a little bit more like maybe 20-minute drive from downtown Vancouver. But it kind of falls into Vancouver, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then we ended up moving downtown and like living downtown Vancouver, and that was stunning. But if you ever get to go, I would highly recommend going to Port Moody because there's like a little what's it called? Like an inlet and a key or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so beautiful. My high school was like, again, maybe a 15-minute walk away from this inlet. And there's a pier, and you just like, we literally used to do, I don't know if you guys had this here, but in PE, is that what it's called?
Physical education.
Yeah, like PE class, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
We used to do like fitness Wednesdays, and when we would do runs, like planned out runs, and some of them would be to the end of the pier and then run back to school. It was like that close. And some people would jump off the pier. You weren't supposed to because there's rocks at the bottom. But like that's how surrounded by nature you are. That's my whole point. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I hated it. Imagine. So stupid.
No, I get it. It's just to leave everything that you know and to come to a brand new location and leave all your friends behind and a relationship as well. It's just your heart is completely somewhere else. God. And it takes a long time to find what makes this new place great. It takes a long time, especially at the age of 15. Were you turning towards music as a way to sort of cope with all of this? Was music a friend to you? Was it something that gave you comfort?
It always has been. Like ever since I was 5 years old, if not earlier. I was in like performance groups and choirs and whatnot. I never, I was always like intaking music. My parents, obviously, I was too young to remember this. My parents keep telling me that when I was younger, instead of like putting on cartoons to calm me down, or like let's say there's guests or something, and then they just need me to be distracted and quiet. Cartoons never did the trick. It's either like music videos, like MTV, sit me down and I'm like locked in, or like thrillers and dramas and stuff like that. But I remember like we always used to have like tape after tape after tape, like VHS tapes of like MTV music videos, and I would just rewatch them, rinse and repeat. And then when we moved, I didn't really like, I didn't start writing music until a little bit later on, but I was always like writing poetry and stuff like that. I literally have my books here from my teenagehood,
Wow.
my notebooks.
You still have
Just
them.
always like writing, always just with the emotions and like using that as an outlet all the time. And then it wasn't until high school that I was doing another, it was called vocal tech class, vocal techniques, like a singing class. One of the guys in my class was in a band, and he was like, do you want to come in and like help us with some harmonies, whatever. I was like, sure, me, what? So I went in, and then they asked me to join the band. And I was like, no way, man, I'm not good enough. I literally had to go home and be like, Mom, do you think I should do this? She's like, well, do you like music? Do you want to play music? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, then why wouldn't you do it? Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm not good enough. But I joined. That's when I started writing.
How about your parents? Were your parents musical in any sort of way?
My mom sings. She's like my first memory of learning how to harmonize was with my mom. I remember like we were sitting in our kitchen and she like taught me how to, what was the song? Something in Bulgarian. I probably won't be able to remember it, but yeah, she was the one that taught me how to harmonize. She never, I don't believe she ever like pursued it or anything. My dad sings in the shower and my mom wishes she didn't. But he's a really good, he's really good with his hands. Like he's a very good artist, actually, like drawing, painting. So I got a little bit of that from him, and I think my musical side from my mom. My grandmother, like my mom's mom, even to like right now as we speak, she's in Bulgaria. She is in a women's choir right now, performing more than I am, probably.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun though? When you are in a choir, you do get to perform a lot, right? You could be in a church choir performing every week, and it's great. But when you're an artist, the amount of times that you're actually performing, it's very few and far between, isn't it?
Not so strange.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have a desire to become an artist and just sing all the time. And when it really starts getting serious, the amount of times that you're actually singing become less and less because so
Less
much
and
more
less.
fills in. Anyways, we'll get to all
Well,
that.
yeah, there's so much more. Because in a choir, you just show up. Well, obviously, you learn the material, you show up and you sing it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in high school, you're in a band. Is it a cover band? Are they all original songs?
It was a pop punk band. Green Tree was our name.
Green Tree.
They named it because the original members grew up in, was it like a suburb? Not a suburb. Or maybe it was. They're like, let's say suburb because I'm forgetting the word. But their like community was called Green Tree something. So they called it Green Tree. My God, it was the best time. I loved it so much. It was, yeah, did I say it was pop punk?
Yeah.
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 I have a tattoo on my ankle of our logo. Actually, I got it when we broke up. Because it was like, it reminds me that like that's my roots. Like that's where I kind of got my legs to perform and like write and whatnot. It was so much fun. Brant, actually, my boyfriend used to be in that band too. He joined a little bit later on, but that's where we met.
Oh, cool.
It was amazing. Like it was, yeah, original music.
Were you playing any shows anywhere in town?
Yeah,
Port
yeah,
Moody
yeah, yeah.
or Vancouver?
We played everywhere. We did a little like West Coast tour in a van. all five of us. It was my God, it was just the most amazing fun times. We did we rent a van or was it one of the members' parents? It was a couple times we did it. So vans were acquired either way. And we, yeah, we went like all the way to Calgary. Like we hit a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of cities between Vancouver and Calgary and then back. It was great. And I was like doing my hair in like dressing rooms in little stores. I'd be like, sorry, I have a show across the street. Like, can I just use the mirror in your dressing room and like straighten my hair? It's amazing. God,
Where
it was
would
great.
showers happen? Just you'd go to the local gym or something, or
So we would time it in a way where we knew people whose house we could stay at along the way.
perfect,
So we would shower there.
perfect.
But yeah, there were like community swimming pools and whatnot. You could just go and like have fun. Is that not amazing?
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
God,
fun
I
and amazing
loved
when
it.
you're young. I think when you get older and you begin to enjoy the comforts of life, a lot of those things.
That is a key point. Yes, that's a key point.
I went and had to play a show in Boulder, Colorado, and so I flew there and then took transit to get to the gig. And then when it came time to go into the hotel, I learned that I was sharing the room with the bass player, and that totally wasn't on the cards. It wasn't on the information that I received, and
Perfect.
just yeah, I'm so precious that way. It's like, why do I have to share a room with somebody? But it turned out to be fine. It's just that first initial time of just hearing that you've got to share
No,
space
I
with
get it.
somebody that you don't really know.
You need to be mentally prepared to share, especially like the older you get, the more like a creature of habit, the more of a creature of habit that you become. And I totally get it. But it was fun at the time, you know?
Of course, of course. Okay, so then the band breaks up after a few tours. Did you put out any material? Did you release records?
Yeah, we did. We put out an EP. Still listen to it to this day. It was called, it's called Back When They Were Good. And the joke is, um, like in the pop punk scene, it was very much like, oh, if your band plays like a lot of synth pop, let's say, I'm not going to name names, but if you sound like this band or this band that's like commercially successful, then you're a sellout and you're like, people would always be like, oh, I liked them back when they were good, like before they added the synth or whatever. And so we're like, why don't we just call our EP Back When They Were Good so that when eventually when we all sell out, people could look back on this EP be like, oh, I liked Back When They Were Good.
Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. But yes, so we put out an EP, a few singles after that, and then I kind of like I really, really started to get my legs in like writing music by myself and whatnot. And so it just became more and more obvious that my instincts, like when it comes to writing, were more pop than anything else, like pop R&B.
So what music were you listening to at this point?
Um, like a wide variety, but always pop R&B has always been like in my rotation. But obviously at the time, because I was in a pop punk band too, like My Chemical Romance and Paramore and like all them. But I don't think I really ended up writing. Like my writing instincts never ended up being that. It was always like more pop R&B. Um, and it was actually during the time where everybody started doing like YouTube covers. And so I did, oh my God, can I say something that like it's gonna sound really like I'm blowing smoke up your butt, but you know it's true because I've already talked to you about it, but it's right around this time. Um, Instant Star, huge, huge for me
Wow.
in high school. Like every single Alex Johnson song from Instant Star and from her own stuff, but like I it would be rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. I loved everything. So the fact that we're friends now is like very special to me. But that was a huge part of my playlist as well.
Thank you for saying that. For those of you that don't know, Instant Star was a TV show that started in Canada, and I guess it's in syndication around the world. And I was invited to to write the songs that the characters in the show were writing. So it was just sort of, they would write these songs on the show and then perform them. And but meanwhile, behind the scenes, it was myself and a few others: Christopher Ward, Mark Jordan, Fred Saint-Gelais, Gene, Davna Doyle. There's a whole bunch of other people that were co-writing all these songs, and it was a fun 4 seasons that we did of that show before it was.
It was only 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
I feel like there was more.
I think it was 4. Yeah, just 4. I love that music as well. I mean, I really enjoy the songs that I wrote, but the songs that I didn't write that are on those shows, I still listen to this day. There's some really special. There's a song called "That Was Us."
Yeah. I can't remember that was us. Name me. Let's play a game. Name me a song from Instant Star, and I'll start singing it.
2 a.m.
I think I'm gonna win.
2 a.m.
Snow falls on the city, white on white.
That's so insane.
God, I love it. I'm getting so giddy right now.
But That Was Us was like, that was the song for me. It was just like hands down, just my favorite song from that entire thing. And kudos to Greg Johnson, a good friend of mine who produced that and co-wrote that with Gene and I forget who else, but it's a great song.
Beautiful, beautiful songs. All part of like shaping me as an artist, 100%.
Cool.
But yeah, so then I started to write by myself and like doing covers by myself, and I started to become more confident. Like I think the band really helped me to figure out that I can pursue music and that I have enough to be confident in pursuing it. But the scarier thing was, do I have enough only by myself to carry a whole career? And thankfully, I always talk about this even now. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and I was like, thankfully, I didn't realize it at the time, but nowadays I just think it's not my job to figure out if I'm good enough or not for anything. It's not my job to decide if I'm good enough to be in this session or to be in that session. The fact is, if the opportunity presents itself, just do it. It's not your job to figure out or to decide if you are good or not. Just do it. Just try. And so I did. And then I think the guys kind of felt that, I'm not sure, like it was so long ago now. I don't really remember why we decided that it had to be so like black and white. Like I had to only do solo stuff or the band. Like they didn't present it to me in that way at all. That wasn't the case. But I think for some reason collectively we just decided to end the band. I'm unsure. Now it was a very long time ago. But that's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started writing myself. And I got the opportunity to open for Ria May, who's another Canadian artist. I'm sure everybody knows her.
Ria's great.
She's amazing. She has been a vital part of why I'm here as well. Because when I opened for her, she was just like the nicest, most humble, most willing to help and give advice. It was amazing. Like we kept in touch even after the show, and she was like, I just think you should be in Toronto. Just go and like even just visit and like meet with people and write with people and whatever.
We had Ria stay at our house for a week. We were working on and we one night we were trying to think of something fun to do, and we heard that there was a karaoke night at one of the local pubs. And so we went out and we totally got Ria up there singing karaoke, and nobody in the crowd, for some reason, nobody knew who she was. But they knew her songs, like they were playing her songs on the radio, literally at the same restaurant. But then when it went into karaoke, like she got up and she started doing Counting Crows, started singing Round Here by the Counting Crows.
Yeah.
And killed it. Like it was amazing. Imagine having Ria May at a karaoke party. And she just blew the whole place away, but just still nobody knew who she was at this place. It was just absolutely amazing. Anyways,
I bet there were people there that were like, you know what, you should think about pursuing music. I bet you.
Yeah.
Somebody went up to her and was like, yeah, you should probably.
Oh, I know. Think seriously about this. You might have in the future. So because of Ria May. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. Because of her, I came to um 2017. I came to CMW for the first time, like in Toronto for the first time. Now, I don't believe in love at first sight with people, but with this city, I don't know what the hell happened. I remember I came with a friend and we got off. It's going to be the stupidest thing. We got off at Union Station because we came from the airport. It was a sunny day. I think it was in April. Step out onto Front Street and I just like smelled the city. Not good smells, but I just got like a whiff of it and I was like looking around and the energy was great. I'm like, I've never loved anything so instantly in my entire life. Same thing happened to me when I went to New York for the first time. And now I think we might be losing me to New York soon, but that's okay. But like, I loved it from from the first second. And a couple days in, I think we were here for like a week. And a couple days in, I was like, calling. Brant was in Vancouver still. I was like, yeah, it's great. We did this today and this day. He's like, so when are we moving? I was like, well, hold on, slow down. Like, I'm not sure that we want to do this. He's like, well, why not? And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just come home and let's talk about it. Like, cool idea. Let's talk about it. Met with a bunch of people, like at every corner, and this is not an exaggeration or a metaphor, like every corner that we turned, we bumped into somebody that then took us to another thing. And like a different like group of people that we met and chatted with and like made connections with. It was just so ordained that I'm like, none of this is a coincidence. My manager met Tommy here
At CMW.
at CMW. So I was like posting on my Instagram that I'm like, oh, I'm packing for CMW, coming to Toronto, whatever. And he sent me a message. He's like, hey, I've been, here's who I am. I've been like keeping an eye on you for a little bit. And I see that you're coming to Toronto. I'm going to be there at the same time. Would you like to like meet up for coffee and discuss and just chat? And I was like, yeah, sure. My friend was waiting outside the entire time because obviously you have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very careful. But she didn't need to because we sat at that Starbucks. I think I was only expecting it to be maybe like half an hour, 40 minutes. We chatted for 4 hours
Wow.
because we just click so well. He's a phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
He's so like I'm getting goosebumps talking about him. I like he's phenomenal in every way, and he genuinely cares. And his etiquette is obviously insane. His love for what he does is insane. His awareness for me as a female in the industry is insane.
Yeah.
In a good way. He's always been like very careful and like very he's always made sure that I feel safe and that I am safe and that I'm comfortable and whatnot. So he's phenomenal. Anyway, we chatted for 4 hours.
I second all of those opinions as well about Tommy Lamb. He's incredible. For those of you that don't know him, go find him on Instagram. He's great.
Tommy Lamb at Tommy Lamb.
Yeah. You won't be disappointed. Reach out, say hello. I hear you're the greatest guy on the planet, and he'll write back to you. I guarantee it. Absolute sweetheart phenomenal. And a smart guy.
He's so intelligent. He's like, no, without him, I would not be here 100%. I've said that about everyone so far. And I think I stand by that because it's true.
Well, everybody plays a part, right? Everybody plays a part in your story, good or bad.
Literally, it's tracing back every little thing that made you do that. Yep. And then, it's
led you to where you are right now. I know it blows the mind if you think about it too much, but it's so true. It's just every little thing that happens leads you to who you are today.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got Tommy now. You signed with Tommy as management soon after, or did it take a while?
Not quite there and then. I think we spent like the rest of CMW kind of just meeting up at different events and vibing it out, And then I went back to Vancouver. I remember on the flight back, we were like descending. Everything in my life is like, it sounds so dramatic, but if you don't make it dramatic, who will, you know? But I remember I was like descending in the plane and I just got this sense of dread. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be back at all. And so I come home and Brant and I were talking and he's like, okay, well, why don't we just move at the end of the summer? Like, why don't we just move in October, let's say? And I was like, okay, that seems like a palatable amount of time for some reason. Fine, let's do it. 1 week later, he's like, hold on, why are we waiting till October again? And I was like, I don't know. There's no reason actually. And he's like, oh, okay, so why don't we just move sooner? Why don't we just give our 30-day notice to our apartment right now? And I was like, I think you're absolutely correct.
Amazing.
So we did, and like drove packed up everything that fit in our Honda Civic. Most of that was guitars and some of these. No, these are new. He'll kill me. Guitars.
Guitars are important.
So important.
So important. And drove the entire distance from Vancouver to Toronto. That's a good, 5,000 kilometers, something like that.
Yeah, really stretched the car's legs. Yeah, she was new too. So, and every time we drive through downtown, we talk about this. Like, we'll never forget the initial drive into downtown Toronto because it was nighttime, so everything was like lit up. Highways are so much bigger than Vancouver, and it just seemed so, I don't know, grand. I love this city. I still love the city. It was amazing.
It's a pretty rocking city, I have to say. It's before I moved here, I was a little petrified of the big city idea. Living in Peterborough, Ontario for my first 18 years. And then when my parents said, guess what, we're moving to Toronto, I was like, hell to the no. I don't want to go there. It's like, I've always been timid that way, about change and things like that. But
I mean, that's normal.
But then I got here and Toronto has an amazing music scene. It's kind of like a collection of a whole bunch of small towns put together, I find.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah. Little pockets.
Yeah. That's what it is. And each pocket has its own beauty and its coolness and everything. And after having traveled to other cities, when I come back to Toronto, I'm like, I'm pretty happy here. I really like it.
There's something about it. And it's funny you say that because that's exactly it. When you travel away and then back, you feel it all over again. Even my friend, excuse me, she just recently moved here maybe a year ago. Just over a year ago from St. John's. Lived there her whole life. Like, obviously this is like the biggest change she could have possibly made so quickly. But even she's been back to St. John's a couple times and she said the same thing. Every time I fly back, I look at the CN Tower and I'm like, oh, she's calling me home. Like, it's already home. And I so second that fully and wholeheartedly. Like, I just love the city.
I do a lot of work trips here, there, and everywhere. And I can't wait for the plane to take off to head back home. Yeah. A lot of people say, why don't you live in LA? Why don't you live in Nashville? Why don't you live in all these other places? And it's not the same. It's just, maybe it's just because it's what I'm used to. I don't know, but it's just from a really young age when I first got here, it just made sense. It just felt really good, really good. When
it clicks, it clicks. Some people love LA. I'm not a West Coast girl myself.
Not that there's anything wrong with LA. It's just it's not for you.
No, there's nothing wrong with LA. If you think about it, there's everything right with it. Sun, palm trees, beach. It's beautiful. But for some reason I want the sewage of New York and I don't know how else to explain that.
Yeah.
I want the gray panic of New York as opposed to the other coast. I don't know what to tell you.
I heard this really funny thing the other day where it spoke about the difference between people on the East Coast of America versus people on the West Coast of America. And they said people in New York, for example, they will make you feel absolutely terrible, but they'll help you while they're doing that. Like if your tire breaks down, you get a flat tire and you're trying to fix it. Somebody from New York will be like, what the hell's wrong with you? That's not a way to change the tire. Get out of the way. I'll fix it for you, whatever. And they will still fix it for you, right? And then the people in LA, they'll be like, so nice, but they won't fix it. They'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry that that happened to you.
Empathetic,
But you know what? I actually have to run right now.
yeah. That's so funny.
But I find that in Toronto, it's the combination of those two things. It's
Yeah.
like, but I think it's more like lovely people that will help you. And
Yes.
I really love that about this city.
I agree with that. It being from outside of Toronto, like everybody has nothing but bad things to say about Toronto. And it's very strange. I remember before we moved, we would get, you know, friends would come in, or like people just coming in from Toronto visiting Vancouver. And they were super nice. But then as soon as those people would leave, the Vancouverites would be like, oh, you know what? Toronto people, they always think that they're the center of the universe, this and this and that. They're stuck up, they're rude, la la la. And I was like, oh my God, what am I getting into? Like, this is before I even came to CMW. But again, same thing. As soon as we stepped foot on Front Street, obviously we looked lost, I suppose. 7 or 8 different people at every turn. Oh, you guys okay? You guys good? Oh yeah, you go here, you go here, you go here. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And my experience ever since moving here has been nothing but the same. It's nobody here thinks they're the center of the world, and I don't know why the city has this reputation.
I know, it's interesting.
Like, we're just chilling. We're just here.
Yeah. So you moved to Toronto. You're all excited. You got the city lights. You're coming in at night. Did you have a condo at this point? Did you have a place to stay, or were you just gonna wing it?
We had a place to stay because of Tommy. Tommy
Amazing.
let us stay with him until we found a place for ourselves.
Of course, Tommy did this. Of course he did.
No, literally. He's again. There's just so much that I owe to him that it's immeasurable. But he let us stay with him. And the apartment search began. To anybody who doesn't know the rental market here, rude awakening. A very rude awakening. Like, the entire rental process was like trying to purchase a house. Like, why do you want credit scores and reference? Like, should you not want to know, have I paid rent my entire life without missing rent? Correct. Like, do I have a job? Yes. What else do you need to know? Do you want my firstborn? Oh my God, it was insane.
Wow, crazy.
It was insane. But anyway, we got it. And then the first thing that Tommy told me to do was, he's like, give me a list of people, like writers and producers, that you want to work with. And guess whose name was on that list?
Oh, I don't know. Not sure.
Mr. Wells.
Did Instant Star have something to do with that?
Correct. Yeah, you were on that list for me. I don't know if I've ever told you. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on. Made the list. And in the next however many weeks, months, one by one, this man, I don't know how he did it, but he connected me with a bunch of you guys, actually.
That's so cool. That's so nice.
But like, I think maybe what I should say is the approach that someone who knows the industry has is so very different from like what my instinct was. And I think this is why it's important to like lean on people that know more always, because I think this is so true for every artist, but like, we just want things to be done. Like, okay, well, now that I have this person's email, okay, well, we should probably talk to him right immediately, right? Like, let's reach out right now. Let's suggest this now. Let's do this now. Let's do this tomorrow. Like, everything is very fast paced, and he's just always been the person to like really pace me, It's like, no, all in due time. Like, let's do this right. And I think that's been like one of the most important things that he's taught me, is just like, don't rush anything. Just like build the relationships, be calm. There's time.
Yeah.
You don't need to like, shove yourself down people's throats just because of your own anxiety.
Totally agree. I totally agree. Like, I understand the feeling to like have everything happen now. But just being on the other side, where I get approached by a lot of people that want things now, they have to realize that like there's so many things that are happening in our worlds. And when somebody comes along and says, I need this right now, I need to be doing this right now, they're essentially saying, I need to now add more work to your mountain of work that you already have to
Yeah.
do. And a lot of people will just be like, first of all, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
It's just like, why do I have to, there's got to be a really good reason to make this happen
Yeah.
right now. And 9 times out of 10, it won't happen. But when you slowly get to know someone and it's organic and it feels really nice and
Yes.
natural, and you just take your time with things, it's almost like slow cooking, a little bit like, yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna be hungry at 6 o'clock, but you can prepare for 6 o'clock by
Yes.
starting to cook this thing, like, or smoking something for like 4 days or whatever in the shed,
That's right.
it's just, it's going to be
Yeah.
great when it's done, but it's just, it takes time, and you can't be like,
Yeah.
I need to eat this now. It's just, sorry, I relate everything to food. I do, but it's just,
No, you're dead right.
taking your time and just really just organically building relationships is the best way forward, because then you get to know really quickly who's zero drama, who is actually a lovely
100%.
person to hang out with, and somebody that you really truly believe in them as a beautiful human being. And then if you're really blown away by their talents as well, that's amazing. But I think you need that slow burn.
Yeah, of course.
For sure. That's great. So Tommy was basically saying that to you because you were ready to run, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
To this day, we're talking about it like it's something that I have overcome. No, no, I'm still like, oh, well, what about now? Can we do it now?
Right.
He's like, okay, just take a breath. Everything's going to be fine. We'll do this in due time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he made that list. And then I started working with people that were kind enough to say yes to working together. Well,
I think Tommy's approach was really what made me like just feel like, yeah, this feels right, because it wasn't so heavy-handed. It was nice and a beautiful, gentle approach of just saying, hey, just can we talk? Can we just hang? See how it is, and then once you've got that hurdle over, then the business can begin. It's all cool. It's all cool. So that's great. So you're now starting to work with lots of people. You're now starting to write and record lots of different things, and starting to get a release schedule going on of the songs that you're writing and recording.
Yeah. So, it was just a ton of writing for, I think, the better part of like the first year or so. And actually there was like trips to LA. I think I'm getting the timeline wrong, but one of the other people that Tommy was able to hook me up with is Sammy Kuya.
Yeah.
Or Sammy G from Kuya. We got into a session, and I think same thing. I think he was just kind of like testing the waters just to see, like, writing level wise, what's going on. Are we a good fit? La la la. So we like wrote a couple songs together, but even after the first session, like we wrote something really cool. And I think he felt that way. Well, of course he felt that way. Now I see that, yes, he did feel that way. Otherwise we wouldn't be working together still.
Right.
But yeah, it was like really cool. And so we kept writing. I don't think it was with anyone in mind. I think mostly it was supposed to be catered to me, but I think we were just writing, like for the sake of writing a good song. And then maybe a little while after that, he ended up telling us that they have a publishing company through Warner Chappell in the US called Velvet Tree, which is in partnership with Warner Chappell. And he's like, we're only bringing on like 3 other people. How would you feel about this? Like, we would love to offer you a publishing deal. And that was like the strangest moment for me, because never, probably until very recently, like embarrassingly recently, I've never thought of myself as a writer. I'm like, I'm a singer.
Interesting.
Who just like has a couple words to contribute. Like, that's how, anyway, inside voices are horrible. But I was never like, I'm not a writer. Like, what the hell? And then for somebody to offer you a publishing deal to write, I was like, what the hell's going on here? What's the catch? Who made you do this? You know what I mean?
Where's the camera?
Anyway, yeah. Who am I getting punked? Um, but yeah. So then the publishing deal happened, which was super exciting. And after that, um, came the email about the K-pop writing camp. So SM Entertainment, Sammy had worked with them before and like sent them writers and whatever, but they were having a camp in Seoul and they were looking for writers. And I guess Sammy sent him or sent them a couple of my demos. Like looking back, whatever he sent them, because you know, like a few years after you write something, you're like, oh, I could have done this so much better, la la la. Like looking back at what he probably sent them, like, why did they even pick? I'm so self-deprecating. I'm not doing it for any other reason other than that's just how I truly felt. I'm like, why? Um, and the only reason why I'm saying it is because that's how I felt the whole way through. But the most important thing to me, and like I'm so grateful that I overcame it. The important thing was that I kept saying yes along the way, even though I felt so like I had like duped people into like picking me. You know what I mean? I just felt so underqualified, but I just kept saying yes because the opportunity's there. So just push through your own ego and your own insecurities and just do it, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because so they picked me as one of the writers in the camp. He was like, "Do you want to do it?" And like the initial gut instinct is to be like, "Oh my God, no!" Like, "Oh, I've got work and I have to la la la." And then in the next 10 seconds, you're like, "That's the most stupid thing you could ever think about." Like, it's Korea. Go to Korea. It's just make it work. And so I did. Because of that camp, Miss Black Mamba came out.
Who did you write with for that song? Tell me about that. You go to Korea, you fly to Korea, you meet a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people that you've never met before, and you're at this
Hmm.
writing camp, and you've got time change to worry about as well. It's like almost like a 12-hour difference, I'm assuming.
It's a whole day and night flip. Yeah. But I think we were all running on, because I've done this camp twice now. And both time it was the same. Like you just run on adrenaline. You're just excited to be there and just to write and like have fun with these awesome people. Like we get paid to do this. Like that's insane. We get paid to like just
Yeah,
have fun and make music. That's insane. Like we're so fortunate.
it's not a bad life.
It's a right, but adrenaline gets you through it, and the occasional sip of soju. Who said that?
Right. Sorry.
Not
What?
me.
Sorry. Did you say something?
Who said that? Sorry, the interference. um, yeah, I don't remember what day it was that we wrote um this song, but basically every day we were paired up with a different writer and a different producer that was still in the camp. And that day I was with Ella Isaacson and producer. His name is Omega. I think he's with Dream Adapters, I want to say.
Hmm.
I could be wrong. Anyway, uh, Ella is one of the funniest, most like quirky, goofy people you'll ever meet in your life. And every time we get in a session together, like it's just chaos because we feed off of each other. Like we're just on crack the whole time. And then we'll just have the most fun and then we'll write something amazing every single time. But that was my first time meeting her. And like from the get-go, we met at the lobby at the hotel that day. And we just hit it off. Omega is phenomenal too, but he's much more calm. So he's not, he's not abrasive like us.
Right. He just put on his
Um,
headphones and worked on his music while the two of you just went off to town. Right.
that's right. Just made sounds and went, mama, mama, mama. Anyway, that's part of the song snippet. Copyright.
Nice.
Um, yeah, we wrote it there, and then like I remember the A&Rs coming into the room, and they said we have a new Go group that we're prepping right now, and we're just looking for their sound, whatever that's going to be. They gave us a couple references, like write for them. So we did, and like we love the song, but with it, I'm sure you know, like with anything for pitch, you write it and you release it into the ether, like you just give it to whoever it needs to be given to, and you hope for the best, and you forget about it until a year later they tell you. Actually, they didn't even tell us. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. A year later, after this camp, it gets released that, okay, the new girl group is coming. And Sammy, or our publishers, told us they want, like, SM wants the song. It might be on the album, it might not, but they want it. Like, let's just do all the splits and whatever. Let's solidify everything. So we did, and I get curious, right? So I went on Google and I Googled their name, whatever, and I see aespa Black Mamba. Or I was on Spotify and I searched up their name and there was a playlist called Black Mamba. And I was like, what? How would they know one of the random songs off of the album? Like, how would they know that? Like, how would people know that? So I went to Google, I was like, aespa Black Mamba. And it said, aespa, like brand new girl group aespa launching with their debut single, Black Mamba.
Wow.
Like, tell me why I'm about to cry about it thinking now. I told you I'm emotional right now. But like, it was so exciting to have something that you wrote be brought to life at such a huge scale. Like their music videos, the costumes, the choreography, it was just so magical and so amazing and so validating and so all of the above. I bawled my eyes out when it came out, popped a bottle of champagne and bawled my eyes out. It was amazing. I'm gonna cry about it right now.
It's please do. Please do.
No,
This is a welcome
the
space for
makeup,
that.
Rob, please.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot about that. But it's an amazing feeling when someone says, I love what you just wrote. I love that. And then it's an even better feeling when they say, we'd like to use this for an artist. And then when they say it's been recorded and produced and it's going on their record. And then when they say it's going to be a single. And then when they say it's going to be first single, and then they pump all of this money into the visuals and the sounds and the promotion and the marketing and everything. And then it all just works. Not only does it get released, but it actually catches on fire. And people around the world love it to the point that it's going #1 around the entire planet.
Yeah.
The chances of that are just so slim, and just like, it's so cool to be a part of that.
It's beyond cool. I don't even have the words for it. It's insane.
Well,
and with every placement after, sorry, yeah.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it's the first of many for you. This is just your first taste of this, writing for other people. But now you're getting so many things happening for yourself as well. I mean, all of the things that are happening for yourself that I had listed off in the biography, that is nothing to not talk about. Like, we have to go down those roads as well. Cause like all the things that are happening for you, it's just like, it seems like everything is exploding for you right now, as it should.
That was an even crazier thing to receive, or not to receive, but I remember, because for this, obviously, I was one of the writers, and like my real name is on there, and that's something special. Like not my artist name is what I mean. And like on the billboards, it's their name and a song that you've written, and that's super cool. But then it's a whole different thing when it's your little picture on that billboard shot and like your song and your name.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm like a 5-year-old, but it's so, God.
I've even seen your pictures up at Young Dundas Square in Toronto. What's that like?
Surreal. Like, I think every time something like this happens, I just cry. I think Tommy's just used to me just crying now. This is what I was going to bring up, in connection to our session, you and like mine and yours. I don't know if I ever told you this, but we did our first session and we sat in the car and Tommy was like, "So, what'd you think?" And I didn't say a single word. I just exploded into tears because it's just thinking during all those moments. I always think back to what we were talking about before, like all the little moments and twists and turns that happen in your life to bring you to this point. Like I was sitting in my Spanish class in high school, like singing 2 a.m., you know? And then a few years later, I'm in the room with the person that like created all these songs. And that's insane. Like that's an insane place to be. If it's, I don't know how else to like manage it other than to cry about it.
But,
I
but,
don't know.
well, what it tells me though is that we're all human beings. We're all ants on the anthill doing our thing. There's nobody that's
Yeah.
better. There's nobody that's worse. We're all winners for the fact that we're even born. To
Yeah.
be absolutely grateful. And just I get just as excited working with somebody brand new that I've never met before. Like to me, it's the same level of excitement that cool. Somebody wants to work with me. Like that's really cool. That I feel like a little kid in a candy store on Christmas Day. Like I just feel
That's
so
crazy to me.
excited about all that because it's just who knows what the next thing is going to be. Who knows where the next big thing is going to happen, and just be excited about it all. And
It's
yeah, I understand the whole thing of being excited for you to work with somebody that worked on the Instant Star songs, and I've gone through that too, where I've gotten to work with all sorts of people that I've grown up listening to and really being inspired by their stuff. And
yeah.
then you start working with them and they all inevitably have to take a break to go to the bathroom, and they get thirsty and they get cranky some
Right.
days, and then they're all human
People
beings,
things. Yeah.
right? They're all human beings
Yeah.
that are just like, we're all the same. It's just, there's some people that have been through more experiences than others, but you'll get there too. You'll get there too. That
It's
the whole
true.
thing is to just be your nice, genuine, sweet, humble self and bring your talents into the room, but just be a good person, because if you're missing that part,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too many doors that are going to open if your personality is the stinky part, like the
Yeah.
stinky streets of Toronto that you smelled when you got here.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's so true.
What was it like to like be told, for example, like being Amazon's breakthrough artist, Kiss Radio's one to watch, the iHeartRadio Future Star, like that? That's insane too. Just getting all of those awards, accolades.
It it's always surreal the moment that like Tommy tells me these things. And there's always like a few seconds of no. What? No. That's for other people, not for me. Really? We got it? Not to say like obviously if I didn't think that I had something to say and something to offer, I wouldn't be doing music, you know what I mean? It's just always surreal to when these things happen. Um, and it's just very validating at the same time. Like I know we always say, awards don't really matter or like numbers don't matter, stuff like that. And they don't, I think there's certainly a part of the industry that um is a little it's kind of just based on, the decision makers' opinions. Everything's just based on an opinion. So I don't think it should be disheartening when you don't get something. Um, but at the end of the day, like these are huge milestones in a person's career, and I think I'm just very grateful to have gotten them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're all from these songs that you've been writing. So songs
Mm,
that started from a deeply personal place
yeah.
that end up being recorded and being put out there into the world, and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. But these songs clearly are working. They're connecting with people to the point that you're getting all these awards based off of the
Yeah.
music that's really impacting people that come from your deeply personal place. It's a magical thing. It's an amazing thing. It's just I love that this is happening for you.
Thank you.
For somebody that had to move from Bulgaria to England and go through the crap of moving to Vancouver and leaving everything behind, and then to just see finding a love of one thing that just really helped you through those years ends up being the
Mm.
thing that is giving you this amazing life that is surrounding you right now and ahead of you as well. You have so many decades ahead of you in which you can be making more music and writing and impacting
No,
a
I
lot of
will.
people. I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
no, it means a lot that you're here to me. I love it. It's just, again, we're all ants on the anthill. You took time out of your busy day, your busy schedule to be here. And I'm blown away that you said yes. So very
Oh
thankful
my
for that.
God. No,
Very
I'm blown
thankful.
away you asked me. I'm gonna make my dentist wait. I have a dentist appointment coming up next too. So
Okay. All
I'm
right.
pushing them for you. I just want you to know.
Well, then I'll just ask you one last thing.
No, no, no,
Um,
I'll be fine.
well, I actually have to go pick up my daughter,
Oh,
or sorry, my
okay.
son actually from summer camp. Um,
Okay.
let me ask you this. You've been through a lot. You've seen a lot of things in your career so far. Um, do you have any words of advice for somebody who's out there listening to this, thinking, I want to be the next NIIVA? I want
Oh,
to be
wow.
exactly where you are, doing exactly what you're doing. Do you have any words that you could give them that would help them get from point A to point B a little bit easier, or any pitfalls to avoid or anything like that?
Um, One of the biggest things is I know I've already said it, but truly ignoring your own like self-critic. It's not for you to decide whether you're good enough or not. Just work hard and like get better at your craft. And if the opportunities present themselves, they're for a reason. I'm very much saying this to myself now too, because it's not like I'm still fighting with this every single day. Um, like the ego portion of it, oh, I'm only here because of this or because of that. They just like me. I'm not actually talented, la la la. Ugh, stop. Like it's so irrelevant. It's a waste of emotional space and energy. Don't think about whether or not you're good enough. Just if the opportunities are there, say yes to them and do your best and just be a good person. Really. That's all. The other thing is, I think, just like meeting so many people in the industry, a lot of people are very concerned with what's going on with somebody else as opposed to keeping their eyes on their own plate. And that's the thing that has been huge for me is like, I've never been a person that is interested in drama or this or that. Like if it has nothing to do with me, it has nothing to do with me. I'm out here focusing on what I'm doing, not this person or that person or that person. So just like stay in your lane and don't worry about if you're good enough. Just do it.
It's amazing.
That's it. That's it.
Beautiful words. Beautiful words.
Thanks.
NIIVA, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here and being a part of
Thank
this
you for having
podcast.
me.
You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
You're great. You still make me
Likewise.
laugh. You still make me feel like life is wonderful. And
Oh,
I hope we get to work again together real soon. That'd be really nice.
I would
I'd love
love
that.
that. I'd love that.
Maybe we could write a song as if it was going on Instant Star. Write a song in that style.
You stop.
Wouldn't that be something? We write a ballad, like write a good Instant Star ballad.
Oh my God, can we please?
Yeah. You heard it first right here on this podcast. It's going to happen.
This is going to be the promo. Once the song comes out, this is the promo. Oh my God. I love it.
Cool.
There's going to
Okay.
be the conspiracy theorists that are like, oh, they already wrote the song. They were just talking about it.
No, I
I don't
promise.
know.
I promise
Who's
the
to
song.
say?
Well, I'm a big believer that the song's already written in the future. We just need to catch up
That's
with
right.
it. Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
Thank you so much. You got to
Thank
go to your
you.
dentist. I got to go pick up my son from summer camp. This has
Thank you
been
for having
amazing.
me.
Thank you. I loved hearing your story. I know so much more about you now.
I'm
And
sorry that I rambled. I felt like I rambled a lot.
no, not at all. I want the long story always, always. And it's just if you said something that lights a spark in somebody out there, then that's even better. That's great. Thank you so much. And I will talk
Thank
to
you
you.
for having me.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you very, very soon.
Talk to you soon. Oh,
Okay.
Tommy says hi. He said remind him no, he said, remember to tell him I said hi. Tommy says hi.
Okay. And say hi to Tommy. Hi, Tommy.
I will.
Anytime that Tommy wants a hi from me, he can just rewatch this podcast over and over and just loop that last 10-second spot right there.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All the best.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Bye. Have the best day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Women in the Music Industry, coming soon. Let's embark on this incredible journey together, celebrating the women who are reshaping the music business one note at a time. If you enjoyed hearing this podcast, please take a moment and give it a like, a rating, or a follow. Your support helps immensely. We'll see you next time.